Hello friendos and randos, welcome back to another video, and with OP07 literally out tomorrow, I think, where I am, I figured I'd cover my OP06 and EB01 Sakazuki decklist. Since EB01 has came out, I've gone, I think, 4-1, 5-0, 4-1. I'll put up the exact win rate of this specific list for EB01 later, but let me just show you the list that I'm running. First of all, let me lay out all of the usual Sakazuki cards that you're familiar with. I don't think they need any explanation. Okay, this is the baseline for every Sakazuki list, and with OP06 and EB01, we do have a few different upgrades. For OP06, of course, we have the very famed 8-cost Gecko Moria SR, a very notorious card for being meta-defining, as well as just a very strong card in general. 8-cost on play, you may grab a 4-cost and 2-cost character from your trash and play them, 1 active and 1 rested. So this combos really well with all of your other 4-cost and 2-cost characters. Most notably is Lucci as well as Tsuru, or now we also do run the 2-cost Helmeppo in this deck in order to support the Moria and Lucci combo. It also works well with Rebecca and Hina and Tsuru or Helmeppo again. And of course, you can also use it with Rebecca and brand new or Rebecca and the new Searcher Tashigi to draw 2 cards with your 8-cost Moria. This is really a meta-defining card for OP06. Every meta deck basically uses it, from Moria to Sakazuki. Well, every black meta deck that can use it does use it because of how strong it is and how much value it can provide. Another strong addition from OP06 is the 2-cost Amano Murakumo, which is one of Kizaru's sword attacks basically. And what it does is, main event, bottom deck one of your opponent's 2-cost and 1-cost characters. I personally like 2 copies of this card. I think it's very strong into yellow in particular, because it does help you get rid of their trigger bodies, similar to Lucci, but also for a much cheaper cost. It synergizes really well with Rebecca Hina, or just Hina, and any other form of reduction, whether it be Ice Age, Helmeppo, Great Eruption, or my personal choice, since the EB01 meta has started, is Marineford. Now, Marineford is good into Red Purple Law because of the fact that when Red Purple Law drops down 2 4-cost and or 5-cost characters, you will need usually 2 different reduction cards to remove both of them with either Lucci or Murakumo. Having access to Marineford's extra -1 cost is useful to help you get rid of 4+4 with only 1 reduction card as a supplement. So for example, Hina plus your leader attack plus the Marineford would be able to let you clear 4+4 or 5+4 without needing any other additional reduction. In early OP06, it's still probably better to stick with Great Eruption in this slot because of RP Law's lack of presence as compared to EB01, but because of the meta shift, I have shifted to the Marineford for EB01. Next up, the other buff that you get in EB01 is the 5-cost T-Bone 2k counter. On play, you may KO a 2-cost character. There's no discard cost or bottom deck from trash cost, which makes it a very strong 5 non-turn if you have your leader attack as well as Marineford, or if your opponent played down a 3-cost on their 4-cost turn. This is very strong. Additionally, it saves you removal in the form of Houndblaze if you can use this to clear instead of one of those. And it's also an additional emergency removal option if you are out of other removal cards or you want to save them for later larger targets or wider boards. My personal list is wrapped up with 3 other one-offs. Currently we're already on 2. First is one of the 2k counter Bartolomeo. I've always preferred this card as an emergency blocker as well as something that you can retrieve off Rebecca. Although it is not searchable, I do still think it deserves that one-off spot. Previously I was running 10-cost Kuzan, but in EB01 I have shifted to Isho. The main reason for this is, for one, it does help you with ripping hand out of the meta leaders like NL, RP Law, Uta now, since the the Japan Area Championship, where Uta has become a bit more of a popular pick after winning. And even Karakuri, Nami, if you see her, is very strong into those leaders. Additionally, because now NL has Raigo, the 6 cost yellow red rock spell, it's not as efficient to play 10 cost Kuzan anymore because it doesn't have permanent sticking power like it used to. And of course, my last one-off is my signature card, the one-off Rush Usopp. Has won me several games, gotten me a few Peronas as well, so very very happy with this card as always. And as usual, the main use case is rushing for a last final attack, helps you to deal with the mirror when you're on low hand sizes and running out of removal or running out of gas. Against yellow, it's always good to snuff out a beige after you know that your opponent has rigged beige into their bottom life, for example. And this giving you that extra attack is very very crucial. And it can also be used as extra removal. If your opponent has rested board, you can play him down as well as use Hound Blaze to clear one of the other minions and then use the Usopp to attack the rested unit. So this is the list that I've prepared for EB01. You can see it in its entirety here. It is a little bit messy, but we do have the usual 2 Ice Ages, 4 Hound Blaze. We're running a mix of Hina and Helmeppo at a 3-2 ratio. I think 3-2 feels like the best ratio for me so far in my testing because you really do want to see the Helmeppo in your trash when you're going to drop it with your Moria, Lucci, Helmeppo. And I also like Helmeppo because it does have that counter stat, whereas Hina doesn't. Not only that, with 2 searches now in both Tashigi and Brand New, the consistency of finding Hina has increased a lot, so it's fine to drop her down to 3 copies. And lastly, we're also running one of the 4 cost Kuzan. I think 4 cost Kuzan is still really good. It does have a space in the list, and at the moment I'm really squeezing to find the slot for him, but it would take the either 3rd Great Eruption or 3rd Marineford or the 4th Hina slot for me right now. I think this is what I'm most comfortable piloting. Of course, if you were to try and make the list a little bit more consistent, you could go up to 2 Kuzan, run no Sabo, or you could also cut Borsalino and Sabo like some decks have been doing in order to fit in more space, because actually in the meta there's a lot of ways to deal with Borsalino. So especially with yellow in the meta, Amaru has become basically something you always have to play around. So some decks have just cut Borsalino entirely in favor of just running only the Rebecca and just playing a little bit more safe around your blocker and your lethal turns. So let me just quickly Sakazuki for Dummies the OP06 version of this list. For OP06, you can see that we've shifted the 2k counters back to Tashigi, and I know a lot of lists were running Virgo in this slot still in order to have that additional searchability of the 1 cost Tashigi, but personally I don't like running cards that are only used for 2k counter, and Tashigi is much better in that slot because of the fact that it is additional reduction. Not only that, we've also reduced Murakumo from 2 to 1. For 1, Murakumo is really good against decks that prefer to go wide, so with a resurgence like Apilo and Uta, there was an increase of this from 1 to 2 copies for EB01. But in OP06, I think 1 copy is usually enough. Usually you're using it against Reiju or against Moria with your Rebecca, Hina, Helmeppo. As mentioned earlier, Marineford was used in place of Great Eruption because of Apilo meta as well, and now that in OP06 is not as frequent or common, we're still using the 3 Great Eruption instead. Lastly, my text, you could also use 10 cost Kuzan instead of 8 cost Isho because now Raigo isn't a thing. But for now, either or is really fine. It's really just about having additional board wide reduction. Not only that, it's good into Moria because for your 8 Dawn turn, generally you don't actually want to drop Moria on curve exactly. You would rather be using your Isho, and then next turn you want to drop your Moria on top with the Isho's cost reduction. So having -3 to everything on their board, just needing the Helmeppo and Lucci is enough to KO 8 plus 4. Thank you for watching this quick deck profile video, friendos and randos. I will be uploading another video with the more detailed curve and explanation for how to play Sakazuki in OP06 and EB01, how to play along the Moria curve, as well as the different matchups that you have to play around and what you can expect from them. If you like this video, make sure to drop it a like, subscribe to the channel, follow me on X and on Twitch, and I will see you guys again next time. Peace out.